Hello everyone, I'm back with another new video. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to everyone who has been watching my latest videos. They've been doing quite well, which I never really expect. And I've had a few new subscribers as well, so thank you for joining if you're new here. So this will be my last video now before the live shows because it's less than a week to go until the final and the semi-finals, so only a few days really. Here we are in the week of Eurovision, which means I need to hurry up and make this video and talk about who could win Eurovision 2025. So normally I would do this video earlier than I am. I think it might be because I'm not going to the contest. Maybe I've got more time, because if I was going, then I would be on the way there now. But I'm not going to Basel this year, but I actually wish that I was, to be honest. Yeah, I'm getting FOMO, fear of missing out. So I think I'll go next year, definitely. So we do need to talk about who are the likely contenders, the potential winners of this year. Now we've had all of the rehearsal footage, all of the rehearsal clips. We know what all the stagings will look like for every single country. Has it really changed the odds that much? Not really, actually. Although I still think there are some countries in the top 10 of the betting odds that are way too high, I think, so that will change. But as for the favourites to win, I don't think it's changed that much. No, I think it's still very open, actually. So what usually happens every year approaching the contest is you've always got a top two in the betting odds. So last year it was obviously Croatia and Switzerland, and then the year before it was Finland and Sweden, and then you've got Ukraine and UK, and you had in Rotterdam, Italy and France. And usually the bookmakers are always right about the top two. It is usually correct, it's just what order it will be in. So this year, as we know, Sweden and Austria are the big two favourites to win, and that hasn't really changed for a few months now, really. It is the same top two going into the final week of the contest. So obviously, if we're talking about potential winners, we have to include Sweden and Austria. So I'll talk about both of them. And I think, well, in this video, I'm only going to talk about 3 countries because I think that there's only really 3 actual contenders to win, and that is Sweden, Austria and France. I don't really think there are any other contenders, really. There is maybe one other country I'll mention very quickly just at the end, only because it seems to be building a bit of excitement, a bit of hype with fans, but I don't really think it's a contender to win, but I'll talk about that country later. But I think, realistically, there are only 3 possible winners, and that is Sweden, Austria and France, and I've always thought that right from the start, and that hasn't changed. So I do think it has to be one of them. But the question is which one, and that is what I don't know. I'm not going to give you an answer at the end of the video, this is who I think will win, because I don't actually know. I think it is quite open, and I can think for all of Sweden, Austria and France, I can think of reasons for and against all of them winning or not winning. France is actually currently the third favourite in the odds to win, which makes perfect sense, I think. So that could very well be the top 3 in the finals, Sweden, Austria and France. But just in what order, that's what we don't know. So I'm not going to give you a definite answer of just one country, because I still don't really know. I keep changing my mind all the time. Although I do have a feeling at the moment, but that could change when we get to the actual live shows and see everything unfold on TV. But maybe it's just for fun, I will at the end just, yeah, it's just say about what I'm feeling right now. If I had to name one country, who I think it could be. And because it's not that clear, that obvious who will win, this video, it should really be called Who Could Win rather than Who Will Win, because we're talking about a few possibilities. But what I'll do is I'll talk about those three countries and we can go over both the televote and the jury possibilities for all of them. So let's start with Sweden, Kai, which is my personal favourite this year. We've already spoken all about how this is very unexpected from Sweden, but in a good way. And it's very unusual for Sweden to be giving us a televote-friendly song rather than a jury-friendly song. So that's very different coming from Sweden. And I assume this will be the televote winner in the final. Surely it will be like the Caria, like the baby lasagna of the year. That's what I assume. And actually, I'll be quite shocked if this doesn't win the televote in the final. I'll be quite surprised at that. If it gets less than 300 points, then that is not what I expected for this at all. I assume it will be a very clear televote winner, surely. I don't even know if they've got that much televote competition, really, from other songs. I mean, maybe you've got Israel, could be televote competition for them. But it's not that much. I mean, some people might argue, oh, Estonia, Tommy Cash could do really well with the televote. But actually, I'm not sure if that will do as well as we think. Like, not really high up there. So I don't know if Sweden really have to worry about Estonia's televote in the final. I don't think so. So I just, all I can just vision is that this will be the runaway televote winner by a mile. And if it's not, then I'll be very surprised and I'll be proven wrong. So the televote side of things should be absolutely fine, no problem. The jury is a bit more interesting because it's not really a jury song, which it normally is for Sweden. And what's interesting is the fact that the jury always loves Sweden every year. So will it be different this year because it's so different? It's not like the standard pop song that juries like. So because it's not like that, does that mean that the juries will sort of think, oh, well, this is not the Sweden that we know and love. I don't like the fact that they're doing this. I don't want them to do something different. I'm not giving it any points. Or will they do well in the jury because it's Sweden and they always do well with the jury anyway? And maybe they'll be rewarded for being different. So that's something that I'm really interested to find out how that all happens. Some people have pointed out about how well Kai did in the Melodifestivalen jury in the final, which is not what we expected because Måns Zelmerlöw was there and we thought, oh, surely he'll win the whole thing. But actually, Kai only lost in the jury vote in the final by just a few points, and it was really close in the end. And it's a positive thing. Yeah, you know, it's good to point out. And I remember being in the audience of the Melfest final, and when the jury points came in and Kai were doing really well, there was a lot of excitement. I remember everyone was thinking, oh, okay, this is interesting. Måns is not doing, you know, he's not winning by a landslide. Kai are doing well in the jury as well, so they're going to win. So yeah, that was very interesting. And yes, they did well in the jury in Melfest, but I would be a bit cautious of being too optimistic with that, because the Melfest final is not the Eurovision final. There's more songs in the Eurovision final. There's more juries, more countries voting. In Melfest, I think there were only like I can't even remember, like 10 countries voting. Not that many, and they got 12 points from the Norwegian jury, some other juries as well. So yeah, it is interesting that they did so well in the juries in Melfest. It is a positive sign, but I wouldn't really be too excited about that, because the Eurovision final will be a much bigger scale. But I imagine they'll get 12 points from the Finnish jury at least. They should do.
Revolution! Strawberry Arena, er dere klare for å skru opp temperaturen til maks?
So if Kai don't come in the top 5 in the juries, then it would probably be a bit more difficult for them to win overall. So that could happen. But on a positive note with the juries, I'm not just saying this because I want them to win, but I really do think it's worth pointing out, and it could happen. So with the juries this year, I'm not sure if there's going to be such a big jury winner that's leading by a lot of points as there has been over the past few years with Nemo and Loreen. So Karia did come top 4 with the juries, which is enough to win overall, but he had Loreen in his way. Loreen just had so much of a huge jury score that it wasn't enough for Karia to catch up with. Similar with Baby Lasagna, I think he came at least top 5 with the juries and, of course, with the televote as well. I think he won the televote. But again, Nemo had such a huge jury score that it wasn't enough for Baby Lasagna. So, but I'm thinking, will that be a problem for Kai this year if the jury points are more spread out? What if JJ from Austria doesn't get as big of a jury score as Loreen or Nemo? So that means that there's more chance for the televote favourite, which should be Kai, to win. And if that is the case, then that will be a bit like a Italy 2021 situation with Måneskin, where they were the televote winner and they had enough to win. Jones Tears didn't get the 200 points that he needed. He got like 190 something, I think. So what if we get that situation this year and Kai will be the Måneskin of the year? I can see that happening as well. I really can. So basically with Sweden, it all comes down to the juries and what they will think of this and how much they will give this. That is the problem for them, is the juries. So I don't know what the juries will make of this. Nobody knows really until we find out on the night. So yeah, that's the big question mark hanging over Kai, is how big of a jury score will they get and will it be enough to win? So let's talk about Austria, another big favourite to win. Well, if Sweden is the televote winner, then surely Austria is the jury winner, although France, I really do need to talk about France. I will talk about them later because I think that they could potentially, yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. But Austria, of course, it is expected to be a very jury-friendly song, something the juries would absolutely love. I imagine, with those operatic vocals, staging that's very cinematic and epic. Something that I think is not a huge problem, but something that I've been thinking, and that I'm surprised that other people are not really mentioning this as much. But I'm not saying that Wasted Love is copying the code or that it's too similar to the code. It is a different song and it's more operatic than the code because Nemo was singing and rapping as well. But this is more specifically opera. So it's not really similar, but I do think it is kind of similar. And I think having 2 years in a row of the code winning and then Wasted Love immediately after that would just be, I don't know, it doesn't really it seems a bit odd. I can't really see that happening. And I do wonder if, I mean, the fans haven't really been talking about this, but the general public, the general viewing public watching at home, I do wonder if they will notice similarities between this and last year's winner. If you're like a casual, not a casual fan, but a casual viewer who doesn't really follow the contest that much, but you remember the winner from the year before, they might watch this and think, oh, but wasn't last year opera as well? So why are we having opera again? And they may see too many similarities with that. So I do think that people might take that into account. So what will the televote score be like for JJ? That's, again, for Sweden, the question is what will their jury score be like? And for Austria, the question is what will their televote score be like? And I do wonder, will it resonate enough with the public? Will it really get enough with the televote? But to be honest, I thought that about Nemo when we found out that Nemo needed 200 and something points to win. I did think for a minute, oh, that might not be enough. You know, it might not get that. But it did. It was enough to win. So I was wrong about that with Nemo. So this could get enough in the televote as well. Or I can also kind of picture it like being a John's Tears kind of situation. Like I said with the whole Måneskin and John's Tears thing with Kai and JJ. I can kind of see that happening as well. So I really don't know about this. It depends of you know how the public take it. So could this be the third year in a row where the jury winner wins the contest? It could be. But then on the other hand, I have this feeling that it could be a bit more spread out this year. Yeah, it's a tough one, Austria. I'm not really seeing the vision just yet, the winning vision for some reason. I honestly don't know, but when we see the whole performance, we might have a better idea. I just don't know if the televote will really go for it as much as some of the others. So, like I said, I do think we need to talk about France as being a potential winner because I've said all along throughout this whole process, this whole season, since March really, that I think that people are underestimating France this year. I really do, and I still believe that now. I still think it's a contender to win. But some people have just completely cast it aside and just don't want to talk about this being a potential winner, but I really think it still is. The reason why I think this could win is because it could be something that won't win the jury vote or the televote, but will be enough in both to win overall. And I think the last time that happened was Duncan Lawrence in 2019. Correct me if I'm wrong with that, but I think that happened with Duncan Lawrence. So it's what they call a compromise winner, really. Something that doesn't win televote or jury, but does get high enough in both to win overall. And I do think that that could happen with this song. I really do. But yeah, it's strange that some people have been really quick to ignore this, and it's all about Sweden and Austria. But I don't see why France can't be included in a winner conversation, because I think it deserves to be. I can also picture France getting third place or fourth place like France did last year. So yeah, I can picture that happening as well, of course. But I don't think it should be ruled out as a winner at all. I think it's still a contender to win. So like I said, Sweden, Austria, France, I can all see reasons for and against them winning. But I do think that they are the right top three in the betting odds right now, or at least it makes sense for them to be the top three and could well be the top three in the contest. But I did say that Sweden, Austria, and France are the main three contenders. I did say there was another country I would mention very briefly, and I am going to mention Albania, only really because, I mean, as much as I love the song, it's one of my favourites this year in my personal top 4. One of Albania's best entries ever, I think. The staging looks amazing. You know, I'm all for this. I'm on board with it doing well. I hope it does really well. But I still don't really see it as a winner. But a lot of fans really do think that this could win. If we had to talk about more winning potential countries, could we extend it to Albania? Maybe. But to be honest, I feel like people are expecting too much of them now. I think there's so much hype over this, and I just can't really see it winning the whole contest. So my hope is that, see, what I worry is that it will come like 10th place, and that would be amazing for Albania. But people would be really disappointed with that because they expected a lot more. So yeah, that is my worry, that it will still do well, but people will be annoyed because they thought it would get even higher than that, when really it could just, you know, scrape into the top 10. But I just can't see it winning for some reason. I mean, I would love to be proven wrong. Can you imagine that? Albania winning Eurovision when it wasn't really expected to, and it never is. I mean, I would love that personally, but I just can't see it happening. And I think that people have set their expectations too high for this. And I hope people are not going to be disappointed if it gets still a good, decent result, but not as much as they hoped for. There's also Finland that people think could also win. This is another song that I've never really seen as a winner, and I'm actually quite confused as to how well this would do. I've got no idea how to predict where this could come on the scoreboard at all. I think it could come anywhere between something like 7th and 20th. Literally, that's how unpredictable it is for this song. But I don't see it as a winner. And again, I wonder if it's another song that people have got too high expectations for. could it be something that fans really love, but outside of the bubble, outside of the fandom, and in the general public, the general viewing public, they might not like it as much as the fans do. So I can see that as being something that doesn't do as well as the fans would like. I kind of feel like that with Malta as well, because I love Malta's song, but again, I think it's something that won't actually do as well as the fans would like it to in the end. So I thought I'd just mention that because it has been quite a big talking point recently. But I hope Albania does do well. I really hope it does. But I do think that the three countries that are the main contenders to win are Sweden, Austria, and France. But are we really that much closer to predicting it? Not really. I think we will know on the final, on the night of the final. I know it does surely have to be one of those three countries, but which one will it be? Well, I did say that just for fun, I would give a prediction right now. If you had to ask me, I can only give you one country, one name. Who do I think is winning? It could change when we see the whole performances, but right now, I do actually feel like Sweden could win. I honestly think they could. Because I wonder if on the night, will it just be more clear and more obvious that it was bound to be Sweden all along and they'll just take it easily? That could happen. Or could Austria take it easily? Again, that could happen. But yeah, deep down, I've got this feeling that it could be Sweden. It could be. So the question is still open. The discussion is still very much open for debate. This video was a bit of a mess, really. I do apologise. But it just shows how open it is, because it's still not really that clear. And it's not really close between two countries. I do think it's more open than that. I think there are three countries that are involved right in this winning discussion right now at the moment, but closer to the final it could change, and it could just be down to Sweden and Austria again, or France could take the place of Austria and emerge as a new favourite, which is something I really do think could happen. So do let me know your thoughts. Do you think that these are the three countries that it has to be one of them? Or do you think it could be somebody else completely, and that it could be Albania or Finland? Maybe it could all change, who knows? But let me know your thoughts on who you think could win. Do you think Austria is taking it? Or Sweden? Or maybe France? Who knows? I do think it will be a very interesting final, and it could be quite close, and yeah, it's going to be really exciting. I can't wait to watch it in Liverpool again for the third time in a row. So the next videos from me will hopefully be my live reactions to the semi-final televote qualifiers, which is always really fun to do. And I think semi-final 2 in particular will be very interesting, because that is the semi-final that's a lot more harder to predict and a lot more open. So there could be some surprises coming for us along the way with that. I hope you enjoy however you're watching. If you're in Basel or if you're not, I hope you enjoy the contest however you wish to enjoy it. After the final, there will be another video from me talking about the results of the final, so a review of the final. Looking forward to that. I'm sure there'll be lots to talk about, and this time next week it will all be over. We will know who the winner is and who will be hosting the 70th anniversary of the contest, which will be a big event, I'm sure. I do also want to say, because I haven't really spoken much about this, I want to say good luck to Remember Monday from the UK. I think they are really good representatives for the UK. They look like they're having a really fun time, a good time together, which is the most important thing, really, that they're enjoying it. I hope we can get some jury points at least. It would be nice not to have 0 televote points again, but we should be prepared for it, maybe. They've got brilliant voices, of course, really talented girls. And yeah, I wish them the best of luck. I hope they do well. And yeah, I think they're a good representative for the UK. So good luck to everyone. I can't wait to watch the live shows. Hope you enjoy it as well. And I'll see you on the other side. Leave your comments below on your thoughts about winners' predictions. And thank you again for subscribing, liking, commenting, watching. There'll be plenty more videos from me. But until then, thank you for watching. Goodbye.